Hey everybody, Happy New Year, and what better way to start off the new year with reviewing a new movie? And of course, as you see as the title, this review is on Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So the plot of this movie is that Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have been living together with the Wachowski family, and they've all had a really fun life together. They've all gotten along really good, and they really understand the importance of family, but they find out that, of course, just like their other adventures, something sinister is happening along the way. And there's a new hedgehog this time named Shadow, voiced by Keanu Reeves, who wants who grows a wrathful hate for humanity after a child that he befriended a long time ago named Maria died in an explosion. So he unleashes fury upon the entire human race on Earth, and so Sonic and Knuckles and Tails and everyone else has to team up to stop him, while Sonic forms their team called Team Sonic, much to the dismay of everyone else, and they all have to stop Sonic wreaking havoc, and even no matter what it takes, even if it's getting help from Dr. Robotnik. This is definitely the best Sonic movie to date. Like, you know what? I honestly wouldn't be against if they keep pumping out Sonic movies every couple of years, because this is a franchise that just keeps getting better and better with every movie. Because I wouldn't call myself a fan of Sonic, because I'm not really a gamer, but I've played some of his games and I think they're a lot of fun. And this movie is everything you'd want in a Sonic movie. This is definitely the most action focused out of all of them. You can definitely tell the budget was definitely a lot higher this time, and they had way more to do. Because I guess if you haven't seen my reviews of the first two Sonic movies, I guess I should say what I thought of them. The first one, I like it. I didn't think it was fantastic or anything, but for what it was, I thought it was pretty good. Like at the time, I thought, for live action standards, I think this is as good as we're gonna get. Because yeah, it didn't really have. It kind of just felt like a good version of Alvin and the Chipmunks or Hop or whatever. Like it was good, but like it didn't have a lot of Sonic like things in it. But I guess for like a it kind of was like Sonic X a little bit about how he interacted with human characters and whatnot. The second movie I really liked. I absolutely loved the second one. It had a lot more stuff from the games. I thought visually it was a lot better. It was more colorful. They even included a lot of more stuff in the games like Knuckles and Tails and such, and even the whole climax of the end with Robotnik's giant mech. Like I thought it was even better because it was definitely like the early 90s Sonic games. And this movie, it's really a step up. It definitely feels like how I say the second one was kind of like the earlier era of Sonic. This is like the more 2000s era of Sonic, which makes sense because the Shadow the Hedgehog game was an influence on this movie, and it's really good. It's really cool, and I think it really fits for this kind of movie. It definitely feels the most like a blockbuster. It's way more action focused. There's a lot of really good action in it. Like even not just with Sonic, but like even all the other characters. Like Shadow is a huge focus, like I said, because the whole conflict revolves around him escaping and wreaking a vengeance for over humanity. And he's a great character, and yeah, he is a villain in this one. I guess you could say all the new characters in these movies have been villains, because Knuckles was kind of a villain in the second one, but then he turned good. This one, Shadow has an excuse to be a villain because you really get understand his backstory. His motivation is that he really hates humanity because a bunch of soldiers accidentally killed Maria, who was the only human that loved him, and because Shadow was experimented on and he was tortured by humans, and one of them was Gerald Robotnik, who's Dr. Robotnik's father, and he's also played by Jim Carrey. And yeah, he does a really good double role. I mean, Jim Carrey, I don't know if I guess unless you count that animate his voice in A Christmas Carol, I don't think has Jim Carrey done a film where he's done multiple roles, because this is the only one I can think of. But he's really good. Like, you know what? Do you think Jim Carrey playing an old man, he would be kind of over the top and really distracting? You'd be like, okay, he's overacting, but no, he's actually a little subtle over. I mean, yeah, he can be a bit silly because he's Jim Carrey, but he's not as, in your face, and it's not as distracting and overly goofy. Like, he doesn't do a silly old man voice like you would expect. I mean, he kind of does, but you can take it seriously for, the kind of movie this is. And even though Robotnik and his father isn't the, or it's his grandfather actually, his grandfather isn't the most interesting aspect of the movie, it still brings to a lot of funny comedy. So that really shows that with this movie, that even the not as interesting moments are still pretty interesting. And the animation, of course, is very good on all the characters. I'm so glad. You know what? I always tend to forget that Sonic wasn't originally going to look like he is because I'm so used to how he looks now. I keep forgetting he was going to look like a furry costume that came to life and had like giant teeth. Like, oh, it was. I'm so glad we didn't get that. But here, the character animation is so good, especially on Shadow. Like, especially when you see like all the rain pouring on him and you see his little hedgehog fur kind of sleeked and even his eyes glowing. Like all the running scenes where Shadow and Sonic and like Shadow teleports actually, if that's a thing in the games. And all those scenes are very cool. Like it's not just speed scenes that we see in the first movies. The teleportation element was so neat and it was so interesting. And they even go to space. Yeah, in this movie, like it's mostly Robotnik and his grandfather, and they're in a giant spaceship, and the climax, like it's actually set in space. So that goes to show these Sonic movies are just getting bigger and bigger with each one, and it's really embraces all the cool stuff. This was definitely kind of the more sci-fi-esque moment, sci-fi esque of the Sonic movies, and I really admire it for that. Like I said, Shadow really steals the show. Him and Keanu Reeves and Ben Schwartz, they're definitely two very different types of actors you wouldn't think would ever be in a movie, but I think uh, their interactions really work well with each other. How Shadow's the angsty, kind of aggressive, dry type personality, while Sonic's, the funny, goofy one. And Kristen Ritter's also in the movie. She actually plays a human soldier who works at the lab that Shadow was experimented on, and she doesn't have. I mean, she has a fair amount of screen time. I mean, she's not the most interesting character, but it was nice to see Kristen Ritter in something because I did really like her in Jessica Jones. And what more can I say? This is an extremely fun movie. If you're a Sonic fan, I'm sure you're gonna eat this movie up, especially if you grew up with the 2000s era of cooler Sonic games. Like if you're a 2000s kid like me, I'm sure you're really gonna like this one. And if the action is your favorite aspect of Sonic, I think this movie is definitely gonna do it for you. And I really hope they make a fourth Sonic movie because this franchise just keeps getting better with each movie. So I have no doubt that it's probably going to get better here on out. And without saying a thing, there is a credit scene. Well, I'm sure that's expected because in the first movie it showed Tails and then the second one showed Shadow. And this one, it could possibly tease another movie. I'm not going to say a thing, but I cheered. Well, I did cheer in the first two credit scenes of the other movies, but this one, like. If you're a Sonic fan, you're definitely gonna want to stay through the end. I'm not gonna say a thing, but so if you're a Sonic fan, you're gonna absolutely adore this movie. I think. Even if you're not a Sonic fan and you only just liked the first two movies, I still think it's good enough. It's the funniest of the bunch. It's the most action oriented of them. I think it really has the big um, grand scope of the Sonic world that you really like in these games, and it's a really fun movie, and I can't recommend it enough. And I am gonna do my top 10 of the year, but it probably won't be later, which is kind of obvious because you all kind of expect me to do those kind of videos late. But this is so far one of my favorites of the year, and I can't recommend it enough. So if you love Sonic or you want to see something with the kids earlier to start the year off, this is a great one to check out. Sorry, I just need a drink. All right. Okay, so the trailers I got before the movie were a Minecraft movie, but this isn't the teaser. This was the actual full trailer. And I think I'm gonna get my house fire set on fire for the saying this, but I don't think it looks that bad. I'm not kidding. I don't think it looks that bad. Like even when I saw the teaser trailer, I'm like, well, it looks as good as it could be. Because yes, I know everyone says this would have worked better if it was animated. I'm like, I do agree. Oh, definitely. I think an animated Minecraft movie would have been much better. But for what this looks okay. I mean, the effects are actually quite good. It does look like Minecraft. I mean, lots of people, weirdly enough, saying the effects look horrible, especially like in the first trailer where you see the sheep. It's like, the sheep looks horrible. I'm like, everything in Minecraft is made out of blocks. How do you expect it to look? And I mean, it could get creative, like lots of the mining stuff and all the you see the scene where like Steve is in the shop and he's building like a giant weight. Like it might be fun. I mean, granted, I'm not really a fan of the whole people in the real world going into the game type storyline. I don't think that really was the best idea for a Minecraft movie, but it might be okay. I'm willing to give it a shot. I mean, for all you know, maybe I'm just being too optimistic. Maybe you're all right. Maybe this movie is gonna suck, but I don't know. Snow White. I don't know about this one. I haven't seen the original Snow White in an extremely long time, but like I don't know, but like I think I only saw it like once or twice when I was a little kid, and I don't really. I mean, I remember some of it, but not a whole lot. And this movie, I'm not honestly not picky about Disney remakes like a lot of people are. This just kind of looks like a whatever movie. Although I still agree, it's really weird how Gal Gadot is cast as the evil queen, and the whole character of the evil queen is that she's supposed to be jealous of Snow White's looks, and I'm like, bro, if Gal Gadot is jealous of someone's looks, I don't think she'll ever be happy. Don't get me wrong, Rachel Zegler's pretty, but she's no Gal Gadot. Like, yeah, that's a really weird casting choice, but and the dwarves look so bad. Like they're CGI and they look morphed and like they look like Polar Express characters. Like they look like something from a CGI movie and they look so uncanny and so hideous. Like I really don't like how they look. Like I don't like. Does Disney think that's gonna be appealing to kids? Like having dwarves like have like look like humans with giant snouts and like it's one just because it looks good in a drawing doesn't mean it's gonna look good in a live action movie. But I don't know. I don't have any particular thoughts on this. Maybe at best I might just wait till it's on Disney Plus. Dog Man again. This one might be funny. I'm curious to see how this one will be. I've never read the books. I don't know if I think they first came out like 10 or so years ago, I'm not sure, but no, I think it's 2025 now. I shouldn't say 10 or like early 2010s probably. I've never read Dogman, but this movie looks like it might be funny. I It could be as good as Captain Underpants. I mean, I don't know because I haven't read the books, but it might be okay. The animation seems good. There wasn't a lot of dumb toilet humor, but which I know Captain Underpants is supposed to have that, but you know what I mean. And it could be fine. I mean, it won't be Wild Robot good, but for a DreamWorks film, I think it might be fairly enjoyable. And Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, kind of a weird film to show before trailer to show before a Sonic movie, but then again, I got Top Gun Maverick trailer when I saw the second one. So, oh, I'm definitely excited for this. This is going to be the final Mission Impossible movie. I'm sure of it, and I really hope it's a good one. Which makes sense. Tom Cruise isn't getting any younger. He's got to do all those stunts before he gets old, and I don't exactly know what the plot's going to be, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. And it's also great to see Haley Atwell back. She's always great to see. So, yeah, I don't know if I think this will be out this summer. So, yeah, this is definitely going to be a summer movie I'm not going to miss. So, but Sonic the Hedgehog 3, it's a really fun movie. It's one of my favorites of 2024 that I've seen. And if you love Sonic, you're definitely going to love it. And even if you don't really have much history with Sonic and you just like the other two movies, this movie's gonna blow you away, especially if the action aspect is your favorite part of it. So it's a really fun movie. I had a great time with it, and I really hope that they make more of these movies because it's just getting better every time. So if they do make a fourth, I'm definitely up for it. So that's my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So catch you later, everybody, and see you all in the new year. So I hope you all have a great 2025. So later.